I just finished this really great stitch pattern called the drop stitch cable pattern. I would love to show you how to make it. So if you want to learn how, join me, Marley Bird, your By Crafty bestie, and I'll show you right now. Let's go.
Show me love, show me love. This is all we got. Show me.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. I am very excited to show you a stunner of a stitch pattern that you are going to love. I'm talking about the drop stitch cable pattern. This is a versatile stitch pattern that can be used on many different projects, like my Savannah Shutters top, or a beach cover-up, or even a scarf. What's truly special about this pattern is how it highlights the beauty of a silky yarn, allowing it to drape beautifully and show off the beautiful stitch texture and colors. Whether you're working with a silk yarn, a bamboo yarn, a rayon blend yarn, you're going to have a beautiful result with this stitch pattern. Plus, it can be made with any size needle or weight of yarn, making it a perfect addition to your knitting repertoire. So go ahead, grab your needles, grab your favorite ball or skein of a silky weight yarn, and get that free pattern. Join me back here, and I'll show you how to make that drop stitch cable pattern. Stitch cable pattern is worked across a multiple of 4 stitches plus 4 if you're working flat, or just 4 stitches if you're working in the round. As you can see here, I have plenty more than 4 stitches plus 4 on my little swatch. I've done some basic garter stitch down here just to have some fabric to work into, and I've gone ahead and cast on 1 extra stitch on either side of the area that I plan on putting the drop cable stitches. So let's work up the setup row for this pattern. So I will knit 1 and then slip my marker. And this is what you will do. You will knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then yarn over. And do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time I will not yarn over because that was the extra 4 stitches from working flat, because I don't want to end on a yarn over because I didn't start with a yarn over. I want them to be symmetrical, right? So I slip my marker and I knit my last one. Okay, can you see that? Doesn't look like much yet, but we have increased with those yarn overs. The yarn overs are what make the entire drop stitch cable work. We will treat those yarn overs just as if it is a knit stitch throughout the entire pattern. And then when it's time to drop that actual stitch, that stitch will run all the way down the cable pattern back to where we started with that yarn over, and it will disappear. And that's what creates the fun stitch pattern. Let's go ahead and continue. I will go ahead and turn my work, and because I want to keep this in stockinette, I will purl. If you were working in the round, you would knit, correct? I'm going to keep the outside as a garter stitch, slip, and then I'm going to purl all the way across. Again, I'm going to keep my edge stitch in garter stitch, so I will knit it and turn my work. As I turn my work, row 2 is the very first row I introduce a cable pattern on. So let's go ahead and jump in. I will knit that first stitch and slip my marker. And it's at this point in time, I'm going to cable 4 back. So the first 2 stitches here are going to go behind the second 2 stitches. I'm going to do this without a cable needle because it just makes things so much easier. If you take your right hand needle and stick it into the front leg of those second set of stitches, take your left hand needle, pull it out of all of the stitches, and then pop it right back in those first 2 that are just hanging loose. The stitches that you put on your right hand needle, put those forward, and now you just knit. You don't have to do anything else. You've just changed the position of the stitches as they're on the needle. The next stitch, that was where our yarn over was, right? Remember I said you just want to knit it. And then we're going to cable again. So I'm going to go into both stitches from the second set on the front leg, take my left hand needle out, put that needle back into those live stitches, switch the position, and continue on. Knit that next stitch, and then I cable again. Go into the front leg of those 2 stitches that are the second set. You'll see I use my finger here to kind of rest behind the 2 stitches that are just kind of laying loose here. So that way they don't fall too far. Looks like I got that one a little snag there. And I'm just knitting them. It's that easy. Let me show you one more time. To the end of my sequence here, if I was working flat, slip my marker. I'm keeping this in garter stitch, so I would knit. Doesn't look like much yet, but that's what we have. Don't worry about those holes, okay? Those holes, that's where the drop stitch is going to come back to, and then we're going to get this really cool drop stitch look. You will carry on with the cable stitch pattern, working in stockinette stitch until it's time to cable again. At that point, you will work the cable row just like we did. You continue on working this until the desired length or the length written in your pattern, and you're going to end after a row 3. So after you work a row right after your cable row, that's when it's time to work a row of dropping those stitches. So let's go ahead and get to that point so you can see how fun it is to drop those stitches off your needle. It seems scary, but it's going to be very exciting, and just see how it all flows into shape. Okay, I've had a chance to work up a couple rows. Let's take a peek at what the fabric looks like, because my guess is it's not what you expect. Okay, take a peek at this. It looks like a whole lot of nothing, right? With some like cable waves in there. But you're going to see here as we drop those 5th stitches, the ones where we did the yarn overs, we're going to get some spaced out sort of ladders between these cables, and it's going to look really good. Are you ready? All right. I don't want to mess this part up because this is one of those things I can't redo it once I start. So here we go. Be sure you're ready. Remember that we had this first stitch is just knit. I removed the stitch markers, that way I could easily get through here. And I've worked 1 row past the cable row that I did. So I'm going to knit 4. And then this stitch here, this is the yarn over that I worked, right? So here's what we're going to do. You literally, you guys ready? Drop it off and pull it apart. And it's going to just fall all the way down. Make sure your other stitches don't go anywhere. It goes all the way down to where that yarn over stitch was made to begin. And then it just stops. It goes away. Okay. Isn't that fun? All right, here goes the next. We knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do it again. Drop it off. Make sure those stitches don't go anywhere off of our needles. And we pull this apart. Any other day, you'd freak out that that was happening, right? But nope, not today. That's what we want. Knit 4. And you will do this for however many of those yarn overs you actually created, right? Drop one off, pull those up, and pull it apart. If you're using a silky yarn like this one, they will pull apart really super easily. This is Samaya or Samia from Knit Picks or We Crochet, whichever one you want to order from. It's the same company. And now we're going to finish it up with our knit 4, Get 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my edging. Let's take a peek. Look what you get. How cool is that? Isn't that great? So you get this really cool laddered look. Your cables are really showing up now. And as you block this out, it just looks gorgeous. After you've dropped all those stitches, you can go ahead and finish up with your trim. I started with some garter stitch. I could end with some garter stitch. And there you have it. If you're following along with the particular pattern, go ahead and follow along with the instructions of that pattern. But if you choose to use this stitch pattern on anything else you wish to use, just make sure you do account for the gauge after that stitch is dropped, because the gauge is significantly different with those drop stitches than when it's an actual knit. Other than that, go out and have fun making yourself one of these beautiful drop cable stitch patterns. Thanks, everybody.